Hello everyone, welcome to part 7 of our Datagrid series. In this tutorial we are going to start talking about some of the events um, that we are going to use when adding a new record or editing or deleting an existing record, uh, aka CRUD operations. That being said, before we start getting into the events, I'd like to touch on a couple of things real quick. And one of those things is these lines you'll notice, I'm sure you noticed already, these lines between the rows. For some reason, if you want to get rid of those, there's a way to do it, and it's quite actually easy. So the way to get rid of those lines is go back to our style. What we are going to do here in our style that we used for our data grid cell, all we have to do is add another setter. This time we're going to target property called border brush, and we'll just match the background color, and that should take care of that. Okay, now those lines are gone. Okay, so that's that. And the other thing that I want to touch on is if you run this application and you maximize it, you'll notice an extra column, a blank column, all the way to the right. Okay, this guy here. And again, for some reason you want to get rid of that column, let me actually minimize this. We're going to use, I think, hot reload, so we can edit while the application is running. That's hot reload. So I'm gonna go to my last column, which is the hyperlink column, right? This column here. I want this column to use the rest of the space, available space, instead of a blank column, okay? So if I want to do that, I'm gonna go in, actually, let's see, all right here, hyperlink column. All I need to do is set the width to asterisk, okay, or star. Now let's see, as you can see, the last column, the hyperlink column, takes up the rest of the space. Okay, so that's that. Those are two things I wanted to touch on. Now we're going to start getting into events, but I'm just gonna leave this alone. I'm not gonna use that right now. Okay, so another thing, actually, I want to comment this row details out because that may complicate things for what I want to do. So I'm going to just comment this out for now, okay? All right. Okay, so events. So to add a record, I want to be able to use the data grid to add a new record to the data set, right? And so the idea is I should be able to go to the last column and start adding a new record here. Let's say number 30, imagine Beatles, unknown, classic rock, and let's say 1973, www.beatles.com, etc. Okay. Let's say we want to be able to add a record just like that. Okay. Right now we add it to the UI, to the grid, but it's not adding to the underlying data. If we go back to our song file, it's not there. So that's just the UI part. So basically, you want to implement this event to add a new record. Okay. The other way of doing this, having a form, either a separate form or to the side of the grid, left or right, top, bottom. You could use text boxes, things like that. But I want to use the grid itself, data grid itself, to add a record. Okay. So that's what we are going to do next. So let's close this. The event we are going to use for this purpose, it's going to be row details, row edit ending. Okay, this is the event we are looking for. Row edit ending. I'm going to double click and say new event handler, and this is going to create a new event handler from us. I'm not sure if I remember adding this name here, but I must have done this off the record. So in case you wonder where this GRD came from, that's here. I named the data grid as GRD grid for short. So just heads up there, okay? I might have done that off the record, just so you know. All right, so regardless, let's keep going. I'm gonna go to code behind file. So we are going to use this event handler to add a new record to our file. But I'd like to add a separate method that's going to add the new song to the file and call it from this event handler, okay? So let's go ahead and add a new method. I'm gonna call this add new song, okay? And pass in a song object. Let's call this S. And in here, we need to do a couple of things. Shouldn't be too hard. So I need that file path first. Okay. Next, I want to call on to the file class and say append all text. And in here, I want to pass in that file path first, and then the contents. So the content, I'm going to use the string interpolation. And here, first I need the ID. So s.id. Next, s.title. Then we have, I think, let's see. We have genre, artist, and name of the movie, I think. So s.genre, s.artist, s.movie title, what else do we have? Okay, we got the artist, we got the movie title, and release year. Release year, and I think URI. All right, so s.release year and s.URL. Okay, and close this out. I think that should do it. Okay, so now let's see how to invoke or activate this event handler. Okay, so I'm gonna put a breakpoint right here and run this. So there are two main ways to activate that event. Let's go to our last row and let's double click the ID column and let's get into the edit mode. So I'm going to type in 30 for the ID. I'm going to use tab key to skip to next cell. Let's say I want to type in imagine here. Tab again, go to the next cell, type in Beatles, tab, tab, unknown, tab, change this to classic rock, tab, and here I'm going to double click with mouse, type in 1973, tab again, and type in Beatles.com. Here I can either hit enter or tab. So if I hit tab again, it'll activate the event or invoke the event, okay? So that's one way to activate the event. As you can see, we hit the breakpoint here. The other way, while you're in edit mode at any given time, in any of the cells, and you hit enter, it will going to activate or invoke the event again. I mean, that's another way of doing it, okay? So either while in edit mode, you hit enter or tab key all the way to the last column, okay? There's two main ways, all right? So we're going to use those two to add a new record, to add a new song to our file, or to edit that record. All right, that's why I didn't add the code in here. I want to keep it separate, and plus it's modular. It's better this way. So let me stop this, and in here first I want to grab the song, the new song. So let's say song, new song equals, that's going to come from e.row.data context, and I'm going to cast this as a song. Okay, so this should give me the song that's coming from our Datagrid row. Okay. So let's run this and try to add a new song. Right, let's scroll all the way down to the last row and start typing in 30, imagine, Beatles, skip, tab, I mean, unknown, tab, classic, double click, type in 1973, I believe, tab again, and www.beatles.com. And at this point, I'm at the last column. If I hit tab again, it should activate the event. Okay, so tab, and now hit the breakpoint. Okay, so the song is here with a bunch of nulls, only genre, and which is incorrect, right? Because we selected classic rock. Same thing here, I think. Yep, so we gain a bunch of nulls. We're not getting any information that we typed in. Okay, so there's a reason for that. So let's stop this. Okay, so what we need to do now, we're going to go inside our properties, and we are going to set a property called update source trigger and set this to property changed. Okay, all right, so if I run this one more time, so we set the ID property. If I run this one more time and go down below and type in 30, just going to type in imagine, just going to tap through for now just to show you that we are getting the 30. Let's see Yep, we got the ID. Okay, so we got the ID. Now I'm gonna stop this again and copy that same property, update source trigger, set to property changed. I'm going to copy and paste this into every one of these properties we have. So paste to the title, to the artist, soundtrack, movie title right here. What else do we have? We have the genre. Oopsie. I think I messed up here. So update source trigger to property changed. And last but not the least, we have well, actually we have a couple more. So the year property right here, right, comma, paste, and is that the right place? Probably not. No, that's not the right place. Should be in here where it says release here. Okay, in the edit mode, not in the read-only mode, in the text block, in the date picker section, because that's a template column, right? So we are editing and then we are binding it. URL, I think that's the last one. Okay, so if we did everything right, we should get all our properties when we activate or invoke the event. Oops. Apparently, I messed up big time. Let's see. Oh, this extra. I think I copied extra braces here. Okay, let's see. What else do we have? Another one here. So, no. So that's good. This one is good. This one here, it should be all right. Text binding, genre. I think that's okay. Let's go check over here. These still look okay. Then what else? Let's see. Line number 1 and line number 60, 63, 60 and 63. Let's see. 60 should be up here. Right, this guy here is extra. And that's it. Okay, so, all right, no issues found. Okay, let's run this again. And let's scroll all the way down again. Let's start typing. So 30, Imagine, Beatles, tab, unknown, tab, classic rock, change this to 1973, www.beatles.com, tab again, event activates, and let's see what we have here. So we got the Beatles, we're not worried about these two again, artists list, we're not worried about that. We got the genre correct, we got the ID correct, soundtrack false, which is unknown. We got the date correct, title correct, and the URL. Everything's in there, I think. Okay, so now next, all we need to do is call this method and pass it in. Okay, well, okay, let's call it add new song and pass in new song. Down here, there's one more thing we need to do. At the end of this line here, the string interpolation, we'd like to pass a new backspace, actually backslash n for new line, because otherwise it's just going to keep adding to the last, at the end of the last line. So we want to make sure we add a new line after we add the record. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this out. Let's see. All right, so okay, let's go ahead and do it. So right now we have, let's check our file. We should have 29 records right here. Okay, and next time I open this file, we should have 30. So let's run it and see what happens. All right, so 30, Imagine, Beatles, tab, unknown, classic, 1973. I think it was 60s, no? Oh wow. And www.beatles.com and tab again. Let's see what happens. So let's go check our file. All right, let's scroll all the way down, and there it is. Ooh. So we got the date and year. We'll get the date in a long format with the time. We don't want that, right? Actually, plus the AM part. So you want to format this part. All right, I'm going to get rid of this. Close this out, save it. So you got to make a little change there. Let's stop this. So to release here, so we want to call the year method on this. Okay, so we just want to grab the year. We don't need the rest of the stuff. Okay, let's run this again. Let's quickly go with Elvis this time. It's now or never. Elvis. Tab, unknown. Rock. I think 19. This might be actually 1973. I don't know. So www.elvis.com or theking.com. And then tab. So let's see what happens. Let's go to the end of the file. And there we have it. Actually, let me open the file. Okay. We have the title, ID, title, genre, artist, movie title, year, and the URL. Okay, let's go ahead and add one more just for the hell of it. All right, so let's go to the next row. 31. Let's see. How about what is love? All right, and this is, I think, what was this? Hathaway. Tab. Well, actually, this one actually has a movie. And this one is going to be A Night at Roxbury, I believe. Okay, this is green, and the style actually applies as you edit the record. So this is going to be pop, I think. And this one is 1993, I think. And let's call this www.hathaway.com. Okay, tab again, and let's check our file, make sure the new song added, and we're good to go. And there it is. So we have the ID, title, genre, artist, name of the movie, release year, and the URL. Okay, so that's adding a new record using the data grid.